just leave me to it. Hello?
Oh, she was abrupt. Cool. Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our QAB session, which is version 5.1. And today we're going to be covering test automation for the people. And we've got two great speakers this evening for you. We've got Kieran O'Regan, if I pronounced that right, and Ken Fulton. Talk about all about test automation for beginners, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. Before we make a start, I'll do the usual introduction and code of conduct. QABC is always a safe space, always be a free event. Everyone is always welcome to these sessions. Age, background, gender, color, okay, you're all welcome to these events. And on that, be respectful to others. If you feel that something has been said that's out of line or you need to report anything, please come speak to Gabby, Ken, or myself. And breaking any of these rules, you'll be banned from any future events. So, yeah, don't mess with us and you'll be absolutely fine.
In other words, be nice, don't be a dick.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that and not me. Okay, we're going to jump straight into our first part of this session. And I'm going to hand over to Kieran.
Thank you very much.
So if I should be able to present to you. Maybe not. How do I hand over? If I stop sharing and then I do a bit of this.
Yeah, you need to give me access, I think.
Yeah, it should be accessible now.
Brilliant. Hopefully you can see my intro slide there.
Indeed we can.
Brilliant, cool. Hello everyone, cheers for joining. I'm Kieran O'Regan, based in Manchester, and tonight I'm going to be talking to you about automating API testing. So just a bit about me before we get started. I started as an apprentice software engineer in September 2012. I then transitioned into a QA engineer in 2013. And then I've been a QA engineer up until November last year. And I am now currently a software engineer at Fanatics. And also I'm going to be a first-time dad in September. And tonight I'm going to be talking to you about the tools I've used to achieve automating API testing. I'm going to do a demo, which is going to consist of creating tests in Postman, exporting the collection, installing Newman, which is a tool which I'll get into a bit further, running the tests using Newman, and then I'm going to discuss how you can add automated tests to your CI/CD line. Brilliant. So the tools that I'm going to be using is Postman. That's just a screenshot of an example of what Postman is. I'm sure a few of you might have used it. It's a tool to build and test APIs. And also with that, I'm going to be using something called Newman. So this is just a bit of a blurb taken from the GitHub. So Newman is a command line collection runner for Postman. It allows you to run tests as a Postman collection directly from your command line. It allows you to run collections the same way they are executed inside the collection runner. Brilliant. So demo time. Hopefully this works. I'm just going to switch my screen and you should be able to see my Postman there. Thumbs up if you can see it. Or yeah. Cool. So this is my Postman collection. I'm just going to do 5 small tests for this demo. And for reference, the REST API I'm going to be using is a free dummy one on the internet, which anyone is free to use. So I'm just going to talk a bit about what I've done first. So I've created a global variables, which is just the URL name. And then all I've done is added the request on the end and then use the method. So these are the get ones. So that's for a single user. So I'm just going to send that and we're going to get the 200 back. And then for testing purposes, I've added in a user that doesn't exist. So in this instance, it's 399. So if I send that, and we're going to get a 404 back because that user with the ID doesn't exist. But I've added that in just so I can show you what a failing test looks like. Moving on to bottom 3, it's a bit more of a real world scenario. So this is using a login. So the first one is sending a request with no credentials, so no email, no password. So that brings back 400 back. One with no password, and then our successful one, which is a successful email and password, and it brings back a 200. So just touching on the test that I've written for this, I've kept it really simple, and all I'm doing is testing for a status code is returned of 200. So I've just got that from some snippets that are on the right hand side within Newman, within Postman, sorry, and all I'm checking for is the status code is 200, and as you can see from the test results, it'll be a pass. I'm just going to show you what a failing one looks like as well. So 404 not found in the test results, so we're expecting a status code of 200, but it's actually returning a 404, hence why you can see the failure. Brilliant. So this is your test suite, test collection setup, and next steps to Gene automation is to export this. So if I just click on the menu on the right hand side of the collection, I'm just going to export that, and the collection is going to be in version 2.1. Click on export. And all I've done is I've selected a location out and save these on my computer.
Did you say you wanted an end?
Well, I just thought they're better for dipping, aren't they? It's more like a roll.
Each end of it.
Yeah.
So I've called this demo collection, so I'm just going to save that.
Yeah, but I cut the ends off of things like this.
Okay.
And then also what I've done is
Yeah,
I
you can have more if you want.
So can we ask people to go on mute, please? Thank you. Sorry, carry on.
Sorry. And then what I've done is I've exported my environment variables as well into the same location, and we'll use these later on. So what I've done is I've just gone to my command line. So all I'm doing is listing out where I am. So as you can see, this is our collection, and these are our environment variables that we have exported from Postman. And then what we need to do is we need to install Newman itself. So it's so I've used npm Node Package Manager. So what I needed to do was install Node.js before, then I could install npm and then install Newman. It's really easy to install. It's just the npm install and then Newman. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to run the test that we created in Postman in the command line. So all you need to do for that is say Newman run. And then what we need to do is we need to pass in the collection name. So if you start typing demo, which is obviously the name of our file there in the top left hand corner, and you click tab, it'll auto complete for you, which is a cool feature. Then what we need to do is we need to pass in a flag of E, which is environment, and then this is called EMV, and then I'm just going to tab that, and then what we need to do is hit enter, and hopefully this should work. Brilliant. So what it's done there, it's executed the test that we've written, obviously in the command line. And then, as I said before, I added in a failing test. So the status code is 200 when it's actually returning 404. And as you can see, it gives you a nice log of all the tests, and it'll log out any test failures or passes inside here. And then it's done, sent 5 requests, and it's took a grand total of 428 milliseconds, which is really quick. And then it also logs out a bit more detail of the error as well. Then what you can do on this as well, so say you have a collection and you want to run over this collection 3 or 4 times, what you can do is you can pass in this flag, which is n, and then you can tell how many times you want to run. So we're just going to run this 5 times and hit enter. And as you can see, it's iterated over the collection 5 times, and it's ran the test 5 times. Hence why we're seeing 5 assertion errors, and it's took 1,943 milliseconds to run all them tests, which is really, really quick. So I'm just going to up that to 10 iterations and show you how quickly that runs as well. So as you can see, it's took 2.7 seconds to run 50 assertions, which is fairly quick, I'd say. Yep, so that's running your test collection with Newman. So and also a cool feature, what you can do is you can use something called HTML Extra, which is a Newman reporter. So you'd install this very similar to how you've installed Newman on your machine, is a npm install Newman reporter. And I'm just going to give you a quick demo of what this is. So if I get my command from before, and then I need to pass in an R flag, and then it's HTML extra. What it's going to do is it's going to execute it, but nothing's been logged to the terminal. And that's because it's actually been logged to, it's created a HTML report here. So if I just open that with my Chrome app, as you can see, it's a cool little UI. And I see the total amount of requests you've sent and a bit more information about the tests. So response information, a lot more detail, the response body, which is really cool feature. And then also the failing test there as well. So if I click on failing test, it'll highlight all the failures. And also this is exactly what we got inside the command line. So we expected it to be 200, but we got 404. So that's that. Brilliant. So I'm just going to go back to my demo. So yeah, what we've covered there is creating a test in Postman and exporting it. We've installed Newman, and then we've also run tests using Newman. So this is a bit more an advanced kind of topic, but I'm going to cover it anyway, just to show the capabilities of what you can do with Postman and Newman. So on the left-hand side, this is a collection with the tests what we've just created, and you can use something called Docker, which is using Newman image. That's again, it's a bit more of an advanced topic. And then what you can do is you can then integrate to run this collection inside your CI and CD pipeline. It's not overly complicated, but you can. There's plenty of videos on there that shows you how to do this and how to achieve that. So this is just an example CI line that I've highlighted at the bottom. This won't be the same for every team. It's just a pure example. So what we have is the build stage. So this is where a developer will commit a piece of code and a new build is started. And then this new version of the application is published. And then here, what you can do is you can trigger to run your collection suite, your Postman suite in the CI line. And then what you can do is you can either block or you can automatically deploy to like a UAT or a testing stage if all the tests are passed, which is really cool. So just going over what we've covered, I've just shown you how to write tests within Postman, how to export it, how to install Newman, which is fairly simple, how to run a test, and then I've also discussed the capabilities of using Postman Newman to add to your automated tests to the development lifecycle. So what I've done is I've created a set of links for people to have a look at if you want to know a bit more information about what I've discussed. So I'll link to Postman, Newman, the HTML reporter that I've used, and then also a video and a blog post on the topic that I discussed at the end, which is adding your test to the CI and CD pipeline. So thank you very much for listening. We're also going to give everyone a 33% off code, a one-time code at fanatics.com. If you would like to get one of them, just send me an email and I can sort out a code for you. Thank you very much for listening and I hope you enjoyed it. Is there any questions from anyone? No.
I think we have one. I think we got one come from Dean. Are you also able to create tests based on a response time in Newman?
A response time. Can you just elaborate on what you mean? I'm sorry on that. Try and get the chat.
You can come off mute if you want, Dean. I'll shout at you.
Yeah. I remember my computer, I didn't realise. Yeah, so like you mentioned, the response times, like for the iterations, are you able to write small kind of performance tests based on that?
Yeah, so you'll be able to, you'll be able to like time how quickly a request takes to request takes to come back. Yeah, you'll be able to achieve that. Yeah, some performance testing. Yeah.
Cool. Cheers.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Oh,
Kieran, before you shoot off, so can you just explain how you started in tech at the very beginning to how you've got to this point right now with API and Newman tests as well? How did you make that transition from where you first came from, and where did you come from?
So I started straight from college. Started obviously as a software engineer, an apprentice. So I then went to QA role, and then I transitioned into software role. But to start learning all this, I was watching YouTube tutorials online. I was following along, really understanding what Postman is, really understanding what Newman is, and just having like learning on the weekend, learning out of hours of office time, following tutorials, and just using the dummy API just to have a go. I always encourage people to have a go at stuff. It's the best way to learn. I've made plenty of failures trying to do all this in the past, but if you're not failing, you're not learning. So yeah.
Yeah, the safe failure is not a dirty word. Failure at least is so.
No, it's good. So when you started with the QA work, how long were you doing that for before you decided to move into software?
So I've been doing QA role now. I was going to test my masters for about 7 years, but I was my manager actually, Darren and Rich. I moved into doing the automation. So at the minute we're doing a Python application, writing integration tests, system level tests using Python. Yeah. So I think I just learned outside of work, and I've always had a big interest in software engineering role itself. I'm quite technical. I do like building stuff outside of work. But yeah, I just learned outside and in my free time and watching courses online and having a go pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen that in the past before. It's like a lot of people, they don't learn quite a lot of this stuff during the work time. They want to go off and learn themselves, and YouTube's a place to go as well. So for myself, I went down the same route like you. I'm nowhere near the experience that you've got, but I'm still a manual tester. But I love automation. But it's nice to hear that if you want to learn things, there's so many courses out there, so many tutorials, YouTube, and I'm sure, Kieran, you could, point people in the correct direction of where they want to go with this as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and a bit of advice that I would give to people is start small, start often. You can be quite overwhelmed with what everything can do, but if you install Postman and then understand it, and then install Newman, start small, really understand what the applications can do, and then then you can start adding to your knowledge and just exploring with it and try new things. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. I think we've got quite a few questions as well. Andy asked, would there be any issues with writing tests to test against different browsers in a language like Postman, for example?
So are you referring to using something like Catalan Studio or SOAP?
So just generally, so if you're trying to test software, say on Google Chrome, would it have issues if you tried to test the software on, say, i11 or Firefox, for example?
It shouldn't do because it's API based.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries.
If we had a question from Hannah, is there any particular tutorial courses you would recommend?
So I've sent a link to a video. I put a link, to a video on the slides, and I think it's about 13 minutes long. It's really, really, really useful. I followed that. So what it does, it shows you, like I've done, how to create a test collection, how to export it, and then also how to embed that into the GitLab CI line. Like I said, it's a very small video, but it's so informative, and I've learned quite a lot from just following that video. So there is a link in the slides.
Okay. For something like that, Kieran, would you need a level of understanding with code, or is it just very basic that you could easily just pick it up as you go along?
I think you can just pick it up as you go along. As you can see, I've written literally next to no code there. All I've done is I've put in the URL, and then there's some code snippets built into Postman. So I've checked the response code of 200, and I've not written any code whatsoever. All you have to do is click the snippet, and it'll build it into the test, and it'll start making the test for you. So that's a really good, cool feature of Postman that I like.
That's really good. That's really cool.
Okay, for the slides, because I don't think people have access to them, could you just quickly copy and paste those into this Zoom chat channel? And
Yeah, of course.
then people can copy and paste them. What I'll do is, if nobody's got any more questions, but I would highly recommend anybody to take advantage now before we go on a break to get all your questions in. Please feel free to come off mute and ask Kieran any questions that you might have, or please put them into the chat. Awesome. Cheers, Kieran. Take advantage now. We'll take a break very shortly, but we'll give you guys a couple of minutes.
Kieran, I've got one more question from you. How did you get into testing, into QA at the very start? How did that happen for you?
So I was working within a Java team, and I was like very, very new to the software world and software industry. So I was okay at coding at the start. You know, I'm not going to say I'm the best in the world, because I'm not. But at the very start, I had very limited knowledge, and I was speaking to one of the engineering managers at my first job, and he said, you should have a look at using Selenium with Java. It's a bit more, it's probably like a bit more for you kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I was given an opportunity to spend a week with the automation team over there, and I just really liked it from there. Yeah, I just really liked it, and then that's it. I was in a world of QA, so, and then I've done so for 7 years.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty good. It's I ask every person that's gone through QA that question, because a lot of people that just fell into testing. I fell into testing. It was one of those things that I've just like come along to, and it's just like, oh, in fact, this is actually really fun. Nice fun thing. Get introduction into new technologies and all that, and you still get to be an important part of how things get built as well.
Of course, yeah.
Sorry, that's just my go-to question with everyone.
Okay, with any sort of previous experiences that you had before you got into testing, was any of those skills you kind of transferred over that you did kind of like, again, I can sort of vouch for that, that's something I used to do, then I transferred these skills to come and test, like without even realizing it. So anything that you feel like you've transferred over, again, without even realizing, it's like, oh, this is part of it.
So you mean transferable skills as a QA engineer?
No, so like a previous job, I used to be in business travel, like being on like online support. Yeah. And when I got a job as a tester, like with all the sort of problem solving, dealing with like stakeholders, stuff like that, it's like, oh, this is part of what I do already. Anything like that?
From a previous role, God, you put me on the spot there. I'm trying to think now. I don't actually know.
I like these good questions.
That's a good question. Yeah, transferable skills. I'm still learning loads at the minute, so yeah. So there's probably something, but I can't work it out.
Oh, glad I asked now. Okay. And cool. Anyone for anything else before we take a quick break?
Cool. If anyone's got any more questions, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn as well, and also on email me as well. My work email is on the slides. Bro.
Okay. What I'll do is I will take the screen back off here. That's all right. If you want to stop sharing.
Yeah, of course.
Cheers for that, Kieran. That was great.
No cheers. Great. Hope everyone enjoyed it.
Great presentation. Okay, so as mentioned, we'll take a quick break. However, unfortunately, this is not. This is a free Zoom call, so I have a very limited time. So please use. Oh, I just got a notification saying you're running out of time. Please use the link that's posted to come onto here. We'll reconvene, say, in 5 minutes. Is that enough for everyone?
Yeah, give it 5 minutes, Chris.
Okay, yeah, and we'll reconvene at 18:40. Again, I would like to apologise in advance to everyone that we're having to do this. I promise it will be a one-off, but again, things happen, unfortunately. But I promise next time this will not happen. So we'll catch you all in about 5 minutes.
See you in a bit.
See you later.
Cheers, Chris.